Wolverine versus the Hulk. Two of Marvel's deadliest forces of nature. One of them is a relentless mutant with an unbreakable skeleton, and the other is a literal force of destruction fueled by pure rage. Both of them have anger that never dies. Ever since the Wolverine trailer dropped, fans, including myself, have been asking one big question. Could the Hulk show up? And if he does, could we finally see that legendary fight play out in a modern game? Today, we're breaking down why a Hulk boss fight would be huge, not only for the story, but also for the future of Insomniac's Marvel Universe. So everyone strap in, put that seatbelt on, we're going for a rough ride as we're talking about two of the deadliest characters in Marvel to a degree. We're going to rewind for a second though. Wolverine's entire Marvel legacy actually started with the Hulk. Wolverine did make his first appearance in the Incredible Hulk 181 back in the 1970s. He was sent by the Canadian government. Logan was ordered to stop the Hulk, who was rampaging through the wilderness. What followed was one of the most iconic brawls in comic history. Claws versus fists, unstoppable healing versus infinite rage. Since then, their rivalry has evolved throughout countless versions and iterations of the characters, from the classic comics to the Ultimate Wolverine vs. the Hulk, where Hulk literally tears Wolverine in half and Wolverine crawls back miles just to continue the fight, which is absolutely wild, by the way. If you have not read that comic run, I would highly suggest it. The clash isn't just about violence though, it's about two monsters trying to control what's inside them. Their rage, their pain, and their humanity. That's why it would fit perfectly in Insomniac's darker take on Wolverine. First, we have references to the Hulk that might actually appear in the game. And the first thing that fans noticed was the license plate Easter egg in the trailer, with the HLK 181, clearly referencing Hulk 181. It's a direct nod to that comic, which is Wolverine's first ever debut, as we mentioned earlier on. Insomniac doesn't add random details, that's a deliberate tease, probably homage as well to the character's first appearance, but it feels like it's a deliberate tease. Second, Wolverine is being developed by the same studio behind Spider-Man 2, which means we're looking at a shared Marvel universe. In Spider-Man 2, we already saw references to mutants and even a secret lab in Oscorp hinting at genetic experimentation. We also have hints of the Avengers, so we know the Avengers are real because of the Avengers Tower. We know the Baxter building is also part of, in the game Spider-Man 2, so we also know that the Fantastic Four are part of the universe as well, which is pretty cool. Now, it only feels right to have them characters like Hulk show up in this game. And if Insomniac is slowly connecting their universes together, introducing the Hulk through Wolverine would make perfect sense. It'd be the perfect stepping stone towards a broader Marvel game universe, something like the MCU but in more of a playable form. And I say that because already we have the, again, I mentioned it earlier, but the Avengers are already established in Spider-Man 1 through 2 and Miles Morales as well. We have hints of characters like Doctor Strange, even making a cameo, like Wong making a cameo in Spider-Man 2 with the letter when Black Cat stole that little teleportation thingy. There's a lot of references to a lot of Marvel characters throughout the Spider-Man game. Hinted the Baxter building, hinting Avengers, and then, obviously throughout the events of Wolverine, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of references to Spider-Man. And even Wolverine and Spider-Man have their own dynamic team-ups in comics here and there, and sometimes they don't fight often, but Spider-Man always disagrees with Wolverine to an extent, obviously. But I feel like having the Hulk show up with the, as a tease could work well. And we're going to talk gameplay about why it would work well, because it gets really exciting if we think about it. Wolverine's combat system, from what we've seen in the trailer and what we've just discussed in the PlayStation blog, is a close range, savage and personal. Hulk, on the other hand, is all about area destruction and raw power. That contrast could make one of the most dynamic boss fights we've ever seen. Here's how it could play out. Phase 1 of the fight is basically survival. Hulk starts off in full rage mode, every hit sends you flying, you're forced to dodge, use stealth and wear him down, not unlike Kratos versus the Stranger in God of War. Phase 2 of the fight is adapting. So once Hulk weakens, we start using the healing factor becomes a key thing, and we trade blows, parry attacks, and using finishes to target weak points. Maybe his joints or even eyes would kind of hurt to do that to the Hulk, but it is a darker take of the game. And then phase 3 will be environmental carnage. You picture the fight moving through a forest into a canyon, then collapsing into a military facility. Full destructibility, dynamic set pieces, and cinematic finishes. Absolutely amazing. I feel like it'd be cool to have something like the lizard fight from Spider-Man 2 mixed with like a Solomon Grundy fight from the Arkham City. Sorry, you mix them all together. You get like a set piece, an amazing city or Canadian wilderness running around, the Hulk smashing trees, and you're like on his back like Spider-Man, and Miles Morales on the Rhino's back. There's so many things that can make this an amazing thing. Now, story implications, how could it fit into the story? There is actually a lot of ways, but if Wolverine is dealing with Weapon X and Black Ops programs experimenting on mutants, that Hulk could easily fit as a parallel. He's another government experiment gone wrong. Imagine discovering that the same scientist who created Wolverine's adamantium skeleton also worked on the gamma research. Maybe Hulk isn't the villain, he's another victim, out of control, and the fight isn't about killing him, but stopping him before he destroys everything. That would fit perfectly with Insomniac's tone. It's morally grey, it's emotional and violent, but still human. Now, I feel like that would be the key way to actually bring the Hulk into the story, is by making him be experimented on by the same people that experimented on the mutants. Maybe the gamma radiation, or maybe the people kidnapped him as the Hulk and was testing on him for a little bit. There's so many things that can happen, but what we discussed before, which having Wolverine and Hulk fight, not because he's a villain or because he's an angry rage monster, but because he's an angry rage monster trying to destroy the evidence and stuff that we actually need, and the only way to stop him is by fighting him. It works. I think it fits the tone well. And the bigger picture is, if Hulk actually does show up, that confirms Insomniac's shared Marvel universe. We've already had Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2, and all that cool stuff, and now we're getting Wolverine, and if the Hulk appears, that opens up a door to not only a crossover down the line, but an actual Wolverine, like a Hulk game. Like, Wolverine could introduce a Hulk game, which is amazing, right? Like, if you think about it, Marvel's classic comic book big three, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk, having their own games. We had a Hulk game back in 2008 or something, the Incredible Hulk video game, which is pretty cool for a Hulk game. And then we had Hulk back in, the Marvel vs. Capcom games, obviously, but we played Hulk in the Avengers game, which unfortunately wasn't a good game, but it was still fun to play as the Hulk. And imagine Insomniac creates like an open world Hulk game, similar to that game, the Incredible Hulk game that they released 8 years ago. It'd be cool to bring something like that back. And also introducing an Avengers style game, featuring Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Hulk, maybe other characters throughout the story. They all join together to stop one big threat. It's very possible. This fight could be the first hint that Insomniac isn't just building standalone games, they're building a connected world where each hero's story shapes the next, which is pretty cool. Think of it like the Arkham trilogy, where you've got like the Arkham Knight, then it brings up, obviously, Kill the Justice League is a horrible game, but the story springs out to that game. So I feel like having a game connected, it works. A whole boss fight wouldn't just be cool, it would define the direction of the franchise. So I'm holding on to hope that we get a Hulk boss fight. And I also hope they don't spoil the Hulk boss fight. I hope they look, there's two ways they're going to do it. One, they'll do like a trailer 2 and you'll have like Hulk scream in the background, or we'll do a mission in the actual game and then Hulk will come out. So, should Hulk be in Marvel's Wolverine? I stand by that. Absolutely, it should be yes. Not just for nostalgia, but because it fits narratively, mechanically, thematically. It's rage versus rage, healing versus destruction. man versus monster. I can continue going on. And if Insomniac pulls it off, this could be one of the greatest boss fights in superhero game history. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think on this? Should Hulk appear in the story of Wolverine, or should Insomniac save that fight for something even bigger? Let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe for more deep dives, more breakdowns on Marvel's Wolverine and other games. I'm also planning on going live more often. I hope. I need to figure out the schedule on that, but I am back uploading videos. I took a week off because I had no idea what to upload, but now I've got ideas and I'm going to put them all down, pen to paper, and bring them to life. So without further ado, that is the end of this video. I hope you have an awesome day, guys. Peace out.